Well, good morning, class. I'm sorry that I can't be with you today, but I wanted to do the math lesson with you because this is a brand new topic, and as you know, I'm very excited to work on multiplication. So today, we're working on hands-on model multiplication. So mostly modeling means we're going to be drawing, and at some points today, if you'd like to use your whiteboard, you can. But let's get right into it. So today we're going to work on equal groups. And when you have equal groups, you have the same number of objects in each group. Use repeated addition to find the total number of objects. So our first problem says, find the total in 4 equal groups of 5. Using connecting cubes, which we'll do in class, but today we're going to do it with a drawing. But using connecting cubes to show 4 equal groups of 5 cubes, draw the groups. So let's start. I'm going to draw here. Let me pull up my pen. I'll use orange. So first, we're going to have 4 equal groups. Okay, so let's draw here. And I'm drawing on the computer, so it doesn't look great. We have 1, 2, 3, and while I'm doing this, I want you to be drawing it as well. And 4. Okay, so now we have 1 group, 2 groups, 3 groups, and 4 groups. Easy. So there are 4 groups, and how many goes in each group? So how many in this first group? How many in the second group? How many in the third group, and how many in the fourth group? So we already did our 4 equal groups, but we know it means of 5. So what I want to do is, let me change my color. I'm going to add in my little spots here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So I have 5 connecting cubes in my first group. I'm going to do that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And you know what? They don't look perfect, but I think yours are going to look much better. I have 5 in this one, 5 in the second one. I'm going to add in my other 5 into columns 3 and 4, and I want you to do the same. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And finally, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we know that there are 4 groups with 5 in each group. Now the first strategy that you're going to use is repeated addition. So think of this as 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5. So write in 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5. And when we add that, we know 5 plus 5 is 10, plus 5 more is 15, plus 5 more makes 20. Another way that you can get to 20 here is skip counting. And I know plenty of you are probably already doing that skip counting naturally. 5, 10, 15, 20. So our answer is 20. So based on our drawing, the groups would be the orange rectangles, and each piece inside the group would be our green. So number 3, it says record the number of groups, the number in each group, and the total from above. Explore other ways to group the 20 cubes equally. So here is where we're going to actually bring something in. This is kind of a jump ahead, but I want you to think back to I want you to think back to our properties of addition, and I'm going to give you a clue. Now I know you can't see me, but I'm going to give you a sound, and I want you to think, what property am I thinking of? Are you ready? Did you get it? That's right. Okay, so we're doing commutative property. Now, commutative property works perfectly for addition, and it works the same way for multiplication. So I have 4 groups of 5 makes 20. Well, guess what? What if I switch it. That's right. I'm going to change my color here so it's a little bit easier to see. But instead of doing 4 groups of 5, this time I can make 5 groups of 4. And I won't draw that for you right now because we're going to continue to practice that once we get to the independent practice. But 5 groups of 4 is the same as 4 groups of 5, so our product is going to be 20. So you're going to write that in, and your writing's going to look a lot nicer than mine. Okay, take a look at the next one. Right here it says 10 groups of 2. Holy cow. So I'm not going to draw 10 groups yet, but what I will do is draw 2 groups of 10. That's right, because 10 groups of 2 equals 20, but switch it. If you have 2 groups, which let me show you, you can make them into circles, you can make them boxes, it doesn't really matter. There's 1 group, there's 2 groups. If you have 2 groups of 10 each, then you will also get 20. That's right. So let's double check. I'm just going to make little dots. You can make circles, remember, because sometimes if we just use a really teeny tiny dot, it can be really hard to see. So I'm going to make little dots, but you're going to make nice big circles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. There you go. You have 10 in the first box. And let's do another one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I hope you can see those. I'm using the green. But I have 10 in the first group, 10 in the second group, and when I use repeated addition or add those together, we equal 20. Okay, so if you are done writing in and drawing your model of 2 groups of 10, just like I did, go ahead and flip the page. All right, so now you're on the back page, and we're going to look at the top portion of this page, page 194, so be sure that you're on that. Let's read, listen, or read along with Mrs. Coffee. It says, you can also use multiplication to find a total number of objects in equal groups. A number sentence with the X symbol is called a multiplication sentence, and all it means is to multiply. And you guys have seen this before because we have been practicing our multiplication. So let's take a look. We are going to use cookies. I know Mrs. Coffee always uses cookies as her example. Let's take a look at try it. It says, Sean helped his mom bake cookies. He served 4 cookies on each plate. There are 2 plates. How many cookies did he serve? So all we're going to do is we're going to draw a picture. It says, find the total of 2 plates of 4 cookies. This seems super duper easy. Let me pull up my color here. I'm going to use green and orange again. So first, what are the numbers? We have 4 cookies and 2 plates. So if we were going to draw a picture over here in the My Drawing section, I want you to draw 2 plates. Now don't draw them too small because you want to make sure that you can fit everything. 1 plate and 2 plates. So how many groups do you see? There's 2. So 2 plates, 1 and 2. Let me pull my orange here because now I'm going to draw the cookies on the plate. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And while I'm drawing my 4 cookies on the first plate and the second plate, I want you to be doing the same. So be sure to draw them nice and big. Don't use tiny little dots because it'll be hard to see. Keep them in a nice order. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so I have 4 cookies on the first plate and 4 cookies on the second plate. Now, before we move into multiplication, we're going to use the first strategy, which is repeated addition. So the cookies on the first plate is 4. and the cookies on the second plate is also 4. So repeated addition tells us to do 4 plus 4. And I know that you know this. Go ahead and shout it out because I know you will. 8. Yes. All right, hopefully you got that correct because 4 plus 4 is 8. Now, after we do repeated addition, we're going to do multiplication. Yes, we're so excited to get into multiplication. We're going to become multiplication masters. So I want you to think of green and orange as your groups and your numbers in each group. So I'm using the green right now. So the first number is going to be the number of groups. So looking at my drawing, how many groups do I have? I have 2. Okay. I'm going to switch my colors because now I'm looking at the number in each group, and that's going to be your second number in your multiplication sentence. So 2 groups times 1, 2, 3, 4. And finally, I'll switch my color to blue just so you can see my total, which will be the total number of cookies on both plates, which I just counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 is 8. And excuse my writing because my computer's being a little bit glitchy. So yes, 4 plus 4 is 8. You can use your repeated addition. That's your first strategy. Or your multiplication sentence, 2 times 4 equals 8. So Sean served 8 cookies. That's right. Okay, and if you are done with that, we're going to go ahead and take a peek at the bottom half of this page. Okay, so we're looking at the talk about it section, and this is the best part because I'm not there, so you guys are not going to actually do any sort of writing, but I am going to answer the questions by sharing this with you, and then I'm going to set you free to do your practice it. For those of you who need additional help, your substitute teacher will be there to help you, and I'm going to give you guys the expectation of your must do before you can go into your may do. So before we do that, let's jump into Talk About It, which is on page 194. Number 1 says, draw a conclusion. How can addition help you find a total number of objects in equal groups? So what is that strategy? Do you guys remember the strategy that we were just using and we've used in the past? It is repeated addition. That's right. So you're going to be adding the numbers in each group. So for example, in our last one, we just did 4 plus 4 because there are 4 in each group. There are 2 groups. So you're going to be adding the 4 2 times. So I want you guys to remember repeated addition. Number 2, how did you find the total number of cubes in step 2 of the first activity? So I want you guys to think back to the first activity. Did you use repeated addition when you were adding 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5? Or maybe you did skip counting, 5, 10, 15, 20. Or maybe you just counted by ones because you're not ready to use those yet, and that's totally fine. Did you say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and finally 16, 17, 18, 19, 20? Whichever strategy you used, I want you to think about how you can maybe start incorporating different strategies. Repeated addition, skip counting, or just counting by ones if you're not quite ready. And then finally, number 3, it says, Sean counted a batch of cookies by finding 4 plus 4 plus 4. How could multiplication have helped him to find the total? So in this one, this is not our original 2 plates of 4 cookies. This sounds more like 3 plates of 4 cookies because as you can see, we have 1, 2, and 3 4s. So 4 cookies on this plate, 4 cookies on the second plate, and 4 cookies on the third plate. So it would be 1, 2, 3. This would be 4 plus 4 plus 4 equals 12. Or you can skip count by 4s. 4, 8, 12. And then finally, once you guys master your multiplication, you will know that 4 times 3 equals 12. So your total is 12. Do you see how as we increase the number of groups, it also increases the total product? Okay, like I said, it's time for us to take a look at practice it. So go ahead and set your eyes on page 195. Okay, so for page 195, you will be doing numbers 4 all the way through 13, and this is going to be requiring you to draw. So for example, 6 groups of 2 equals, this is going to be 6 circles with 2 in each, and you're going to be drawing that to show your work. And yes, you will be showing the substitute to make sure that you are done before you can move on to anything else. Additionally, you will be doing addition. So here you can see the number in each group for number 8 and for number 9. They're going to be asking you to write your addition sentence and then also label the group. So remember, the groups are kind of like the fence around, and the number inside goes here. So for example, number 8, and you can do this with me because I know it can be a little bit confusing, but here's kind of a freebie. I can see 2 groups. Check that out. 1 and 2, and how many in each group? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this would actually be 2 groups of 5. If you need help, be sure to ask your substitute and they will happily help you. Let's turn the page to page 196 and see which problems we're going to be doing before we move on to our may-dos. All right, I'm looking at page 196, and yes, you will be doing numbers 14 and writing an addition sentence to show that you know how to use repeated addition. You'll be doing number 15 and doing an addition sentence for repeated addition. You will be doing number 16 and an addition sentence to be showing that you know how to use repeated addition, and you do not have to do number 17. Once you complete everything, you are going to rip out your homework on page 197 and put it in your mailbox to take home today. And yes, I will be collecting it tomorrow, so make sure that you do this. I hope that today's lesson was fairly easy. I know that we've been working on multiplication, so I'm actually very, very proud of each and every one of you. Please look to your substitute for help. Okay, so this is the last part before I set you free, and I know I've been saying I'll set you free this whole time, but you have a must do and then you have a may do. So your must do is to complete the lesson that we first worked on, and again, it's numbers 1 through 16. You do not have to do number 17. Once you're done with number 1 through 16, you show the substitute your completed work. Then you can rip out your homework and put it in your mailbox. Oops, teacher made a typo. And put it in your mailbox to take home for homework tonight, and then you can work on your freckle. In your done category inside your virtual backpack, make sure that all of your assignments are yellow and green, and yes, you do know what that means. And I will have the substitute check your work before allowing you to go on to Prodigy or Khan Academy to finish your math. This would be a great time for the substitute to pause this video, put it on the full screen so that you guys can take a look and make sure that you're completing everything that you need to complete. If you need help, again, ask your substitute, and Mrs. Coffee will be back around 11:30 to make sure that you guys are being the absolute mightiest of Mustangs. I'll see you soon. Keep working hard.